Alright, welcome back to the car vlog here. Leaving work. We actually got let out a little early today. I'm going to work when I get home, or to where I'm going, but the weather up here in Minnesota is not particularly good today. It's like 18 degrees and rainy, which you might be asking yourself, how the hell does that work? 18 degrees means it's going to freeze, which would mean you're right. So the water on the ground, the stuff that has come down earlier today, is going to freeze and get really icy. So the roads are going to get very bad. But work was cool and was flexible with getting people out of there. A lot of us are traveling for holidays right now and events like that. So I'm actually going up to my parents' place up north. So ignore, if you see behind me, ignore all the crap behind me. I had to pack a decent amount of stuff. A lot of clothes. But yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm going to ramble about in terms of cellular media. So, execution into this new business venture or new side of it. I want to have all my systems built now, but I'm not saying I can't take on clients now, but I want to kind of have the process of everything figured out and then move into, just so it's a smoother transition. Like we start bringing clients in, okay, we already know what the procedure is for having them in, getting their content, getting that to the editor, getting that back, and then the process of if we're posting it for them, or if we're just sending it back to them for them to post or whatever, how that works. So trying to figure out those systems and what that looks like, but also you kind of got to have at least I think you kind of got to have a trial by fire a little bit and have at least a client in, so you kind of build out what that process is. Think of it this way, you don't really know what you have to do until you have to do it, so I guess very soon, very, very soon, we're going to start doing some outreach stuff, and that's exciting because, that's, you create your leads and you follow up with the leads and try to make sales, right? And for me, what I think that's going to look like is, it's hard to say, because I don't want to turn down money, but I really am not really trying to do one-off stuff and get you this package, the one time. I really want to try to sign people to a monthly retainer just for more consistent work purposes, because that's just more consistent money in for me. But then also, strategically thinking, it makes more sense for them to want to have even if it's just for the first package we do with them, just say it's 3 months of content, right? If you just do it one-off, I feel like you're not really going to see the results that you could maybe see, as opposed to doing it for a 3-month period, because over a 3-month period, you're going to have that higher quality content for longer, and you're actually going to see more consistent growth with that than you would hiring a guy to do a one-off. It's let's just say you have pretty low to mid content right now, and they start posting really high content for a little bit and they go back to that low or mid crap. Your following of people are going to kind of notice, see that little spike, and then notice it go back down or whatever. Whereas if you continually have that higher quality content, your brand's also going to notice that too, and I think you're going to see better results that way. Because with this content, I don't really want to be called a content agency, because I feel like we can really do any part of the creative process for a business. But a lot of the, for a content agency, your goal is usually to either run ads from the content you're making and create leads, and what I kind of want, and there's nothing wrong with that stuff, and it's stuff that I'm just have to learn about that stuff too for myself, running ads, that type of ways. I do want to have, you can't avoid doing, outbound, you have to go search for your leads, but I do want to have some inbound process too, have that good mix of both, but you either do that for your client, and that's the reason for the content, or the one I kind of believe more in is, building the brand, building that trust, showing people who you are, telling your story. That's kind of the process I'm more about and that I believe more in. And not that either way is wrong. I think there's actually, the real way to look at it is there's room for both of them. But I want to lean more into the building your brand, building who you are type stuff. And the hard part is, like, when you go more the other way towards, like, the ads, or like your goal is to generate leads, like, that's a lot more trackable, I would say. Like, usually you do those things, like, you might have a guarantee, but you might say, like, yeah, like, my goal is to generate you X amount more leads, or that type of stuff. Whereas building your brand, I would think, is more like who you are. So, like, yeah, you can maybe say, yeah, your followers, like, that's your brand awareness and everything, but not always. Sometimes it's just, you get, like, literally the impression of someone seeing your logo on something. Like, people see the logo, they know what they're able to connect with what that is. Like, that's brand awareness, and that's a lot harder to track, because, like, if I'm, you have your social media content, and you're, let's just say you're like a lawn care service, right? Or here's a good example. Maybe you plow snow, because we're in Minnesota here, and there's a lot of snow, right? And they see your trucks driving around the town with your logo on it, whatever that may be, right? Well, they really might not know. If your truck has a logo on it, they'll probably be able to read. That is part of your branding too. Is your truck being branded with your logo. It says what you are, and probably have, like, a phone number on it for someone to call you, right? But if you're on social media wearing your company hat, and you're talking about, like, tricks to keep your driveway less icy in the winter, I would think, and I'm not an expert, but most people salt their driveways to get rid of the ice or keep the ice away. But they see you, usually it's some sort of brand ambassador or someone higher up in the company talking about that, maybe the owner, or maybe it's just a marketing person too. But they see you giving away those tips on your social media, and then maybe they go try that trick that you give them, or whatever it is, right? But just having that impression of them seeing you, your business, and your logo, and connecting all that, just something that they've seen before, right? So let's say, they see you doing that on social media, and then they're like, oh, I need a snowplow person because, I broke my back, or, my shovel broke, or some stupid excuse, or I can't, either way, XYZ excuse, they can't plow their driveway or their commercial property parking lot or whatever. They think back to, oh yeah, well, I saw that one guy on social media who he owns a snowplow business. Let me go talk to that guy. Let me go see if I can get him to do it. And the thing is, connecting back to, like, the social media stuff and the organic piece is, like, the real goal, I think, with the organic stuff is, yes, you can generate leads from your organic. It's not saying you can't do that. I think it's certainly a benefit. But I don't think that it should be an expectation. I think the expectation should be, with your organic stuff, to be building your brand, who you are, and establishing trust within your community and your ideal clients, right? Because people aren't going to buy from you if they don't know who you are and they don't know if they can trust you. That's really what it comes down to. You got to be able to be trustworthy and solve the problem for your ideal customer. So, I mean, that was a good little tangent right there. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of getting flashbacks to one of my marketing classes I took in college. My professor, Mr. Bonko. I can hear him in my brain talking about sales a little bit. That's kind of what that is. This is more salesy stuff, not as much. It is marketing too, but talking about, bringing people in to buying your product or service. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's room for both. Like, you gotta have, the salesy part where, like, you actually convert people into a paying customer, because you have to generate money to run your business, right? But you also have to get them to trust you and, understand who you are and what problems you solve, right? Like, when people Google you and you show up through SEO on Google for them, whatever, like, they're gonna go click through your website and look at your reviews. They're gonna look at your testimonials. They're gonna look at your work. They're gonna look at your product reviews, whatever it is, right? They're gonna do all of that before they fill out the lead form or make the purchase of, you know, whatever you're trying to sell them, right? And that's no different. But how we do that on social media then is through content. You know, you can make testimony videos with people you've worked with before. You can just like copy and paste a review off of your website or off of Google onto a graphic and post that if you want. But I think what people, especially nowadays, what people really want to see is, you know, the owner themselves, usually in the thick of it, in the trenches, you know, doing the work right there along with the people that they employ. Just because I think it shows, you know, not compassion, but like shows that you're not afraid, as a business owner, you're not afraid to do the work either, or do the work yourself. Plus, also running a business, you should really know how to do everything that happens below you in your business. Just so you know how to manage your business better. Because if you don't know how to do things below you, I don't know how you would even manage them, if that makes sense. Just because you have to know what each role, what the duties are, and then how to do those duties. Because otherwise you can't really help. If that person's struggling, you don't really know how to help them because you don't know the role. But yeah. So anyway, going back to social media content, people want to see like the business owner doing the stuff, whether that's talking to the camera about, you know, what problems they solve for their customers, how they do it. They just want to feel relatable. They want to feel related to, you know, they want to be able to relate to your business. They want to feel like you're not above them. They want to feel like you're one of them, right? And that's how I feel too as a business owner. Like it's hard for me. I don't want to feel like I'm above anybody, because I don't think I am. But, you know, I want to be relatable. I just want to be the relatable guy. I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, I'm all in it for the money too. Because it's real easy to get in it for the money. Is money nice? Yes. But also I want to help people, because I understand that running my own business, and obviously my business is focused more towards like social media and marketing like that, and content marketing. But if you run a different type of business, like again, go back to the snowplow guy, his business is completely different from my business, because on top of marketing, he's worried about lead generation for plowing parking lots or whatever, roads, whatever. But then he's also trying to figure out all the insurance that goes behind that, renting out or buying and owning trucks, insurance, payroll, HR, scheduling his employees, buying salt for his plows, accounting. Oh my God, that's a big one. Accounting, taxes. How much money does he need to put away to pay his tax returns when they come? How does he pay himself through his company? There's a lot of different things and I'm sure that was just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's so much more I haven't even touched on with that. But he has to worry about all these different things, and you know, you really can't be an expert in every department like that. Like, there's just no way. And if you are the expert in all of those things, good for you. But I feel like there's absolutely no chance. And I don't think you should be the expert in all those things, because if you are in like absolute total control of everything going on in your business, I feel like you're gonna get burnt out so fast. Just because you can't keep up. There's so much things you have to keep up with. If you were doing all those things. So my goal is to, you know, help people at least take some stuff off of their plate. You know, because that's the other thing too, is if you're going to be involved with every aspect of your business or whatever, I don't feel like you're going to be the master of each one of those things just because you're spreading yourself so thin, right? Like, if you just focus on your strengths and things that you know you're good at, like obviously you don't want to be like too comfortable. You want to still grow like your skill set, but at what point is that costing you money by not, you know, because you're spreading yourself so thin, trying to be in control of everything, at what point is that no longer helping you? And at what point would it actually be beneficial for you to bring somebody else in that is the expert in that department for whatever it is, right? And so for me, that's, you know, social media content. I know a lot about it. I know a lot of these business owners know how to be a business owner. They already know their process. They know what they are good at. And a lot of times too, like, these business owners are just so strapped for time as it is because they're trying to do all these other things that marketing kind of gets forgot about. And that's kind of why a lot of these businesses start struggling, is just because you got to be able to market yourself. You can't just not be out there. Like, yes, word of mouth referrals is a thing, and it's definitely a good thing to have. You don't want to not have that, but I think at some point there is a ceiling for that, and you have to start to do some other sort of outreach. So I want to be able to help people at least take off the marketing hat, because, you know, you're in a business, we wear all these different hats for all the things I already went through, right? And I know that hat the best, and I know that I can help other people with their business wearing that hat for them. So that's really what I'm about, and I'm excited to start doing that sort of stuff. And it's starting to get really real, because I know, like, the outreach part is basically what's next, and I know there's a lot that's gonna have to go behind that in terms of business setting upness wise, you know, like with business bank accounts, business cards, taxes, all that sort of stuff, you know. But it's exciting though, because it means that we're making progress, and that we're making good progress, and that we're heading in the right direction. Because it would be really easy to go like, oh yeah, like, I don't really understand any of that, and I'm just not going to do it. Well, no one's going to make money by not doing it. You got to be able to go at least try your best, and that's all you can do. But in terms of outreach, the early outreach I'm going to do, it's hard too, just with the time of year now, because, like, we're heading into the holidays. Christmas is next week. Businesses are starting to slow down a little bit, especially, so I'm a full-time job doing real estate stuff, and so it's been really slow in terms of doing actual real estate. We're busy in terms of, like, business improvement. Like, we're making a lot of changes to our marketing efforts and structure of our business a little bit, that sort of stuff. But that kind of, you know, for us in real estate, that's what's looking for us. But for everyone, kind of, once the holidays roll around, it kind of just slows down for everybody, because everyone's kind of just trying to get through the holidays. Because everyone wants to kind of go travel and get out and go see their families or whatever. So it's hard to say if I'm going to start the outreaches next week or not, just because I don't really know who else is going to be grinding next week trying to find marketing stuff. But I do know, especially once the New Year rolls around, that's when I'm going to really hammer it, because, you know, I think there's a special opportunity once New Year's rolls around, because everyone's kind of trying to figure out their 2026. I mean, people have already been, if you haven't been trying to figure out your 2026 goals for the last 3 months, you're already behind. But I think there's going to be some stragglers that, you know, really want to step it up in 2026, and that's where I can come in and help them. So maybe right after Christmas I'll start doing some more outreach stuff, and then too, if these short videos roll out, I'm gonna use those organically for me, but there's a chance I could maybe roll those into like a little boosted post or something and try to get more traffic that way, which would be super cool. But for sure, once Christmas rolls around, I'm starting doing a lot more outreach, trying to figure out how to streamline the process of doing outbound, like cold calling and cold outreach efforts. How to streamline that, and then transition to like how to balance that also with an inbound system, and what that inbound system even is. And if you don't know those terms, you mean outbound is like you physically going out and searching for leads, whereas inbound is you have like something out there that, and people come to you. People coming to you is inbound. So one of my inbound things that I have is on my website. I have a free branding resource, and it's nothing super fancy, but it's something where, like, let's say you just got hired to be a marketing person at this company, and you don't really know what's going on, or you don't even really know much about marketing, and neither does people you're working for. They just need somebody to start doing it. that would actually be a pretty good resource to go look at, just because it kind of breaks down like the basic things that you need to understand in terms of running a brand, and what those things should maybe look like. And there's templates on there, templates you can use for like your social media post. There's like a content calendar template that you can use to fill out for scheduling your content, stuff like that. There's also like a checklist, a branding checklist of things, like things that you should have, that you can check off to make sure that you have set up for the company you're working for or the company you're trying to start. That's the other thing too. It would also be a good resource for new company owners, someone that is trying to wear all the hats and just has no idea about anything but marketing. I would send them that way, so they can learn more about it a little bit. It's not super intense by any means, but it's just a good base level foundation product that's totally free. But for how inbound works for me for that is to get access to it on my website, they have to fill out the form. And I just need their name and their email, and that's it. And then they get sent to them on their email, and they can have that. But for inbound, for me, that would help generate some leads, because I know it's people that want marketing help or branding help. So they fill out the form for that, and then I email them as soon as I can later. And then there are ways I'm sure that you could automate that email and be like, oh, hey, so-and-so, I see you took this, you downloaded this resource. I hope you like it. And then, however, I'm sure there's ways to automate that. And maybe someday when there's a lot more traffic towards it, that would be the way to go probably. But especially early on, I want people to understand that, like, I have help editing videos now, but I'm basically a one-man band in terms of the sales, the actual production of photos or videos for your company, that sort of stuff. And I really am trying to establish like genuine connections with these business owners, because I understand what it's like to try to run a small business, and it's not easy at all, and there's so much time invested, hours of the night that everyone else is sleeping and you're up awake trying to figure out how to word something on your website, just stuff like that. Like, there's just so many hours spent in trying to figure out every aspect of your business, and then I can relate to them. I want them to know that I can relate to them, and I want to be genuine too. I don't want to send automated emails all the time, because I just feel like that's not genuine at all, especially with all the AI stuff happening right now. Which is like, I think AI is definitely useful in terms of like being able to use it for, there's definitely tools that help, but also at a certain point, like, there's just a level of humanness that no longer is going to exist with all the AI stuff that happens nowadays. And I've always been a pretty social person, and I like connecting with people and talking to people. So like right now for inbound, I do all the emailing out myself back to the people from the inbound stuff. And there's been a couple, not many, but there's been a couple people that have found it through like Facebook and stuff. So that's my other tip for people too, just in general, is just be as genuine as you can. Don't be a robot. Don't just feed ChatGPT every response to every email you get. Don't be afraid to jump on a call with people either. People get nervous with phone calls nowadays, and I remember when I was like a kid, I got nervous with phone calls because I gotta talk to an adult. Well, now you are the adult. You kind of gotta grow up a little bit. It's just a phone call. I think people are people just want to email everything back and forth nowadays, which makes me mad too, because I hate reading through my email. That's one of the most annoying things ever. But don't be afraid to jump on a phone call, or what. You can Zoom or whatever you want to do. But I actually really like the Google Meet system. We have that. I used it a little bit before I started this job I'm at now, but I use it there for like everything, and it's super slick how it works out. I have it all wired up to my my phone calendar, and it talks to all my other calendars. So if I open up my Google one, everything I have is linked, whether it's work, my actual full-time job, my part-time social media stuff I do, I coach part-time, track and field. Like it's all into one, so I know where I gotta be at all times, which is super cool, and I know when I'm available. But don't be afraid to jump on like Google Meet, Skype, or whatever your preferred video chatting thing is. Don't be afraid to do that either. Because it's one thing to talk on the phone and people to hear someone's voice, but it's also another to actually be face to face as you can be nowadays with people, I guess. Maybe more screen to screen, but just being able to see someone's, what are we doing here? Why is this car slowing down? There's nobody in front of you. Just being able to see someone's facial expressions when they talk to you. I think especially. I didn't take like a sales class in college or anything, but I would imagine that there's a great benefit in terms of the sales process for being able to being able to physically see the person you're trying to sell to. You can kind of see how they react to what you're saying and that sort of stuff. So I'm sure there's a lot more official terminology to put what I just said. I'm sure there's a lot more textbook way to say what I just said, but what I said made sense in my brain. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys too. But man, let's see here. Work emails all the time. Work emails. I don't even know how long I've been talking for, but the roads are not as bad as I thought. They were saying the roads were supposed to be really bad on the way. I was talking for 27 minutes. Wow. I'm going up north. My parents just moved up north from the cities. Going up there for Christmas, and I'm gonna say basically a whole week, I think. Which will be fun, just nice, especially maybe you guys see some of that in a different video, not this video, but potentially another video you'll see that on. But they're saying the roads were super bad. They are super windy right now. That I can confirm. I think it's supposed to be 25 mile-an-hour winds, especially with snow. It blows across a lot. But I don't really see any ice on the road at all, which is nice. It was nice that people at work left out early. They know we're all kind of traveling a little bit. But also, I have to shoot. I'm hosting a live webinar for our business. We have an investor fund. So I'm doing that tonight with one of our owners, Jaden. So that'd be cool. We had one today with Jaden as well. It was not a webinar. It was like a live Q&A with him and our dispositions guy named Paul. And that actually was surprisingly good. I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out, just because we had some marketing changes and event scheduling changes. So they're all pretty last minute, so I didn't really know what to expect in terms of turnout. But it worked out better than we thought. We had some more chatters in there than I anticipated. So that'd be cool too. And maybe someday I'll do some like live streaming stuff for this sort of stuff too. I don't know. Maybe that's something that business owners would be interested in, is just having like a live Q&A with me, and I could, they could kind of feed me what their business is and what I would do in terms of video content for them or whatever, or like not that I have to do it, but like ideas for videos that they can make. Because that's the thing too, is like some of these businesses, not a lot, but some of these businesses could at least, everyone could do more. You're never doing enough. Very rarely are you doing too much, I would say, as a business owner for your marketing. But especially these ones that are doing nothing. Alright, welcome back to the vlog here. The awkward part about this is I already recorded a segment for this long form video in the studio a couple days ago, and I forgot the SD card there, so I'm doing it here instead. Don't remember what I yapped about. Basically that part was the outro for this video, and thanks for checking in with this week's video. Majority of this video is going to be a car vlog from yesterday. I took when I was driving out of work. I actually already shot this portion yesterday in the studio, but I forgot the SD card. I don't have that with me, so I can't upload it. Rookie mistake. That's on me though. I got to be better. There's always ways to improve, and now we know that's one of the things, is that when it gets busy like this, you can't be forgetting that type of stuff. So we can cut away. We'll cut away to that. Cut that right now. So we'll see in the car.